In the last video, you looked at the periodic chart and you saw that group 1, those elements have a charge of +1. Group 2, those have an charge of +2. Group 13 have a charge of +3. 14 +4. Then 15, -3 have a charge of -3. 16 have a charge of -2. 17 have a charge of -1, and 18 has a charge of 0. All right, so you know that, and you should record these someplace so that you don't forget those or memorize them. Of course, memorizing is really, really good for doing that. But you could just make a sketch of the periodic chart that shows the groups 1, 2, and then leave a space for these elements, and then all through 13 through 18. You can make a sketch and label each column with the charge on top, so that you can remember this. Now, there's some things that we didn't tell you in the last video, and that is about these elements right here, and then going down along this way also under here. You know that these are all metals because the metalloid line is right over here. So these are metals down in here, but these elements don't always just have one charge. They may lose more than one electron. Now, these all do lose electrons, and because they lose electrons, they are going to have positive charges, but we just don't know for sure. For example, iron, that could be a +2 charge, or it could be a +3 charge. And you don't know unless we tell you more information. All right, so you need to learn about these elements down here. And these elements happen to be called, in this group right here, these happen to be called transition metals. Okay, so transition metals are in here, and then down here we also have some more metals called lanthanides and actinides. And we don't really use those much for anything as far as a chemistry class, but these metals are common, like iron and copper and zinc are very common. So you're going to see that you can't memorize the charges for these metals, but when you see the name given for a compound of these metals, they're going to tell you what the charge is. All right, so you should just know that these exist as transition metals and that they have multiple charges possible. Now, there's 3 exceptions here that you need to memorize, and I guess actually maybe just 2. Aluminum is a +3, and it is in group 13, and those are +3, so that makes sense. But then zinc is a +2, and you know that one for sure. So you need to write down zinc, Zn, is a +2 charge, because nobody's going to tell you what the charge of zinc is. You're going to have to memorize that one because it's always +2. And silver is always a +1, so you're going to write down silver. Ag is a +1. You're going to write that down somewhere also, maybe on that periodic chart that you are sketching on a sheet of paper that you have to use, or maybe on a periodic chart that you actually have in your notebook that you happen to bring home from school. All right, so again, aluminum's a +3, zinc's a +2, silver is a +1. You need to memorize those or write them down somewhere where you have them handy. And it is a pattern, +3, +2, +1. So you can just remember that, +3, +2, +1, remember those 3. All right, so what you should take away from this video is these transition elements, you don't normally know what their charge is unless someone tells you. And then you should memorize this +3, +2, and +1 for those 3 elements.